welcome to another SIACharts focus video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new capture ratios that launched in the models area, and going to explain first of all what they are, what do they mean, and where you can find them on the system. So what you'll see is I'm in the models area, and just choose any model, scroll down, and you're going to see in the analytics or risk reward section some new ratios here called capture, up capture, downside capture, and total capture ratio. You're also going to find definitions of what these mean in the calculations and formulas guide above. So if you want to know more information about that, actually let's jump there to first understand what these mean. So if I click on here, and I have it pulled up just in another tab just to save some time, you're going to be able to go to any of the formulas on our system and get more information about it. So what the capture ratios really are a measure of performance of an investment during up and down markets in respect to your benchmark that you're comparing it to. So the total capture ratio is just going to divide your up capture ratio by your down capture ratio. Anything over 1, which is going to be highlighted in green to make it easy to understand if it's good or not, is going to tell you that the risk and the reward that you're taking on is paying off versus the benchmark you're comparing it to. Now, if we individually take a look at how the upside capture ratio is calculated, it's looking at the investment, or in this case a model, its performance every time the benchmark has a monthly return of more than 0. It then looks at your model or your investment and sees if that return is also more than 0. And it's going to take the geometric mean monthly return of each one of those and multiply the factor of 100. So really all you need to remember is an up capture ratio over 100 indicates outperformance. So if you get a score of 120, that's going to mean you outperformed your benchmark by approximately 20% during that time period. The downside capture ratio is the opposite. It's looking for every month that the benchmark had a negative return, and it also looks at your return during those times. And this time you want to be below 100. That's going to signal outperformance. So for example, a score of 80 indicates you only declined 80% as much as the benchmark during this period. In some cases, if you have significant outperformance, you could get a negative down capture ratio. And that's not an error, that's just the way the formula is created. So most of the time, you're going to see something like this, something around 100. If you're 100, you're lockstep with the index. It's kind of like a correlation of 1 or beta of 1 or something like that. So let's go take a look at this model. Where can we find it? Well, just scroll down, like I said, and you can see over here on the right-hand side, I have up capture ratio and down capture ratio. So I'm just going to sort this, which you can do for any of the columns, to show that this model has a green score of 135. That's really good. So I'm outperforming my benchmark over the time period by 35%. My downside capture ratio is also green. And again, a lower score here is better. So I'm only taking on, again, 80% of the return or underperformance, sorry, I'm outperforming during downside markets or losses. So this is also usually going to correlate with your average monthly gain. So if you have a strong average monthly gain, you're usually going to have a nice upside capture ratio too. Same thing on your average monthly loss. But this gives you a little bit more insight into all of them, not just your averages, but the overall score. And again, this simplifies both of those calculations into kind of one tidy score that both the risk and the reward that you're taking on is outperforming. So in this case, a lot of good numbers in this sample model. This is just a sample hypothetical Canadian 5-stock model, and this is where you can see those capture ratios. Now, just a quick reminder that you can actually add these if you don't see them on your screen, or you can take them away. So if you don't want to show the total capture ratio, you can just get rid of that. Or if there's other metrics that you don't want to see here, you can also remove or add them as you see fit. The other place that's going to be very valuable is if you're in a model. And we've added new widgets where you can also see this information. So let's just wait for this to load, then I'll show you how you can do that. So if you have a model here, let's just make some room for it. And I'm just going to get rid of this so we have room. And I'm going to add my information. Actually, it's already in here, isn't it? So it's in here in my risk reward analysis. And let's just make sure that we toggle those on. And we'll get rid of a couple other ones so that we can see them. Yep, they're already on here, so I'm just going to make some room, taking care of some other information that's not as important here. And don't need that in this one. There we go. That's a pretty good look. And now I'm just going to hide it again. And there we can see, I can see my up capture ratio here. The same thing we looked at the other screen for different time periods. Now the really awesome thing is you can change the time frame that you're looking at up here at the top. That will also change the scores that you're seeing down here below. Now there is new widgets here that you can add to see this information as well. You can see it in the market volatility and risk, or the model risk information. I believe it's in the model risk information, or in the risk reward widget. So risk reward table right here. So both of these will have those capture ratios, and I can add them in here. There you go. You can see the upside capture ratio to our primary benchmark, as well as what we just looked at in the risk reward table. So there you go. Use those as you see fit to help explain this to your clients. Very valuable risk and reward calculations that I think will be very helpful for everybody going forward. And as always, remember to manage your risk in the markets and have a great rest of your day.